Hey, everybody. As I've been talking about a lot of the sports books I've read, baseball books I've read over the last 10 years, there are some books that really I've learned are designed to completely just entertain you and enjoy. But there are some that are designed to challenge the way you think about competition in sports itself. And for me, one of the best books that does the latter is John Grisham's Calico Joe. Now, most people, when you think of John Grisham, you think courthouse thriller, like a Time to Kill and The Firm and The Pelican Brief. But this story, Calico Joe, goes in an entirely different direction for him. It's set up as a baseball story, but it's about character and identity and ultimately what happens when somebody forges a very unhealthy relationship with a sport. So at the center of the story, we have really two very, very extreme different ball players. Number one, we have a guy named Joe Castle. He is baseball's newest sensation, Major League Baseball, by the way. He's talented, he's humble, he's gracious, he genuinely seems to love every minute he gets to spend on the diamond. You can't help but root for this guy. He's like a cartoon character. He's the childhood dream. It's like if we could build the perfect baseball player in a factory, it's this guy. He represents childlike love of what we have when we first start playing a sport. On the other extreme is a veteran pitcher named Warren Tracy, bit of a journeyman who personifies, honestly, the reality of professional athletics or athletics in general, where Tracy is this fiercely competitive and talented athlete, but somewhere along the line in his journey, the competitiveness in him has soured and curdled, and baseball isn't something that he does anymore. It's become who he is. His entire self-worth rises and falls with every single outing he has. So every other player feels like a threat to him. Every failure he has feels personal. He represents what a lot of athletes over time become. So finally, the paths of these two people, Tracy and Joe Castle, cross on the field, one pitch. And that pitch sets a series of events and emotion that feels wildly and sickeningly accurate. I don't want to spoil the story because that's where the story really starts becoming worth reading. But what stayed with me in the end wasn't the drama of the moment of the pitch. It was the contrast between these two men. Simply put, one plays with an unbridled joy, one plays in constant fear. So as I finished the book, I found myself constantly thinking specifically about youth sports because that's where I'm mostly involved now. And we spend a lot of time telling kids and athletes to be competitive, be fiery, be excited for what you do. And they should be. Competing hard is one of the absolute greatest teachers there is, right? But there's a difference between loving to compete and needing to win. One makes you better. The other eventually just owns you and consumes you. And I've coached enough athletes to know the difference between the two. So the players who enjoy the challenge tend to be more resilient. They bounce back after games. They celebrate their own teammates. They keep growing because their confidence comes from something deeper than their own stats. But the players whose identity depends on their performance, i.e. their stats, often struggle the most. Every strikeout feels catastrophic. Every mistake becomes judgment on who they are instead of simply what they did. So it's not just true in baseball, though, as you probably know. It's true in every sport. It's true in every job. It's just the truth of life. So, cliche. But our accomplishments matter. Our passions matter. But the moment they become our identity, we're standing on really shaky ground. And I think that's what Calico Joe is really asking us to consider. Can we pursue excellence without letting the success of that define us or lack thereof? Can we compete fiercely while still remembering that people across from us are also human beings trying to do the same thing? Can we love the game without letting the game completely own us? Those aren't baseball questions, they're people questions. And maybe that's why this story has stuck with me the way it did. It's about baseball. It's about an unforgettable pitch. But underneath all of that, it's about our perspective, humility and grace, and about remembering that the best competitors aren't always the ones who care the most about winning. Sometimes they're the ones who just simply love the game. And that's a lesson every athlete and coach and parent and fan I think could just stand to hear over time. My dog has to pee right now. So anyways, Calico Joe, John Grisham. You'd love it.